Morning cycle arrives with the harsh blare of the duty alarm. Nixela has barely slept, her mind racing with implications of what she discovered. The data crystal feels heavy in her pocket as she joins the other technicians for the daily briefing. Sector 7 Delta showed no anomalies overnight, announces Senior Officer Varric, his 4 eyes scanning the assembled crew members. We'll proceed to Sector 8 Alpha as scheduled. Nix's heart races. They're moving away from the nebula, away from the mysterious vessel. She raises her hand, her blue scales flushing purple with anxiety. Technician Nixela. Varric acknowledges, mandibles clicking with mild irritation. You have a question. Senior Officer, my station registered unusual energy patterns in the nebula during night cycle. I believe further investigation is warranted. She keeps her voice steady despite the disapproving murmurs from her colleagues. Commander Vexorn steps forward, towering over her smaller frame. These nebula readings again. Your equipment clearly needs calibration, technician. Perhaps your assignment to sensor duty was premature. Humiliation burns through her, but Nix stands her ground. With respect, Commander, I've verified the readings through 3 separate algorithms. Something is there. Enough. Vexorn's tendrils flare with authority. The mission parameters are clear. We're conducting a standard border sweep, not chasing sensor ghosts. Report to maintenance for equipment evaluation. The briefing disperses, leaving Nix isolated. Fellow technician Zulk approaches cautiously. You really believe you found something? He whispers, multifaceted eyes darting nervously. Nix hesitates, then makes a decision. Meet me in Observation Pod 3 after second meal. I'll show you. Hours later, Zulk's mandibles click rapidly as he examines her enhanced scans. This can't be real. The design matches nothing in Confederation records. Not current records, Nix corrects, pulling up an ancient text on her personal device. But look at this historical reference. Human warships of the terminal conflict era. The grainy illustration bears unmistakable similarities to her sensor image, the distinctive forward hull section, the dual propulsion arrays. Humans are myths, Zulk protests. Stories to frighten hatchlings. Behave or the humans will come with their fire weapons. What if they weren't just stories? Nix's antennae quiver with excitement. The official histories say they were destroyed fighting the ancient Vraxian Empire. But what if some survived? Even if you're right, Zulk says, why reveal this to me? Because the Luminary Dawn changes course in 6 hours. I need help adjusting our sweep pattern to accidentally bring us closer to the nebula. Zulk's scales pale. That's course manipulation. We could be demoted to waste reclamation for that. Or we could make the greatest discovery in modern history. Nix leans forward. The sensor logs show the vessel is active, power signatures fluctuating. That means crew, Zulk, living humans. A ship-wide announcement interrupts them. Attention all personnel. Astronomical phenomenon detected in Sector 7 Delta. Course adjustment authorized for scientific observation. They stare at each other in disbelief. Looks like someone else noticed your anomaly. Zulk whispers. Nix feels a chill through her scales. I purged those logs. Nobody else should have seen anything. As the Luminary Dawn alters course back toward the nebula, Nix watches Commander Vexorn from across the bridge. Something about his sudden interest feels wrong. His eyes keep drifting to a small communication device on his wrist, a non-standard piece of equipment she's never noticed before. The nebula grows larger on the view screen, swirling gases concealing whatever waits within. Nix returns to her station, fingers flying across the controls as she secretly prepares a focused scan. If humans truly exist, if they've been hiding all this time, she needs to know why. Before the commander makes contact, the tractor beam's grip tightens around the Luminary Dawn, bathing the bridge in pulsing blue light. Emergency sirens wail as crew members scramble to stations. Commander Vexorn barks orders that nobody can fulfill. Their propulsion systems are completely neutralized. "Sensor report now," he demands, all 4 eyes fixed on Nyx. "The vessel is approximately 3 times our size," she responds, reading from her console. "Hull composition unknown. Energy signature unlike anything in our database." The main view screen flickers, then stabilizes to show the interior of a command center. The beings operating it appear surprisingly similar to Sulphidians, but with only 2 eyes, no scales, and strange fur concentrated on the tops of their heads. One figure steps forward, tall, with dark skin marked by pale scars and penetrating eyes. "This is Captain Marcus Reynolds of the United Earth ship Invictus. Identify yourselves and your purpose in this sector." The bridge falls silent. Humans, actually speaking. Not legends, not myths, but living beings. Commander Vexorn composes himself with remarkable speed. "I am Commander Vexorn of the Confederation exploration vessel Luminary Dawn. We detected anomalous readings and investigated per standard protocol. We mean no intrusion." Reynolds' expression remains impassive. "Your vessel has been emitting targeted quantum scans for the past 14 hours. Those aren't standard exploratory suites." Vexorn's tendrils flatten against his skull, a sign of embarrassment among Sulphidians. "A technical error. Our sensor technician was performing unauthorized scans." He gestures sharply at Nyx. "She will be disciplined accordingly." Captain Reynolds' eyes shift to Nyx, assessing her with unnerving intensity. "The technician responsible will join the diplomatic party boarding the Invictus immediately." "Captain, I must protest." Vexorn begins. "This isn't a negotiation," Reynolds interrupts. "Send your diplomatic team, including the technician, or we'll simply bring your entire vessel aboard." 30 minutes later, Nyx finds herself walking through the docking tube connecting the ships, accompanied by Vexorn and 2 senior officers. The gravity shifts subtly as they cross the threshold onto the human vessel, slightly heavier than Sulphidian standard. The docking bay dwarfs anything she's seen before, filled with smaller craft and equipment of unfamiliar design. Armed humans stand at intervals, their expressions unreadable. Lieutenant Eliza Chen meets them at the inner doorway. She's shorter than Captain Reynolds, with dark eyes and black hair pulled back severely from her face. Various technological implants line her left temple, pulsing with tiny lights. "I'm to escort you to the briefing room," she says, her voice clipped and efficient. "Captain Reynolds will join shortly." As they follow Chen through corridors of gleaming metal, Nyx notices how the humans watch their group, not with fear or disgust, but with curiosity. One young crew member even offers what appears to be a greeting gesture. "Your vessel," Nyx says quietly to Chen. "It's remarkable. Our sensors barely detected it until you chose to be seen." Chen glances back with the barest hint of a smile. "Quantum cloaking, one of many technologies we developed during the war." "The war with the fractions, that was centuries ago." Chen stops abruptly, causing the Sulphidian party to halt. "You know about the fractions?" "Only from historical texts," Nyx replies. "They're taught as the great enemy who disappeared after humanity's extinction." Something dark crosses Chen's face. "Interesting version of history. I suspect Captain Reynolds will have questions about that." The briefing room door slides open to reveal Reynolds waiting inside, surrounded by holographic displays showing the Luminary Dawn from multiple angles. "Welcome aboard the Invictus," he says, studying each Sulphidian carefully. "Now perhaps you can explain how a species that's never encountered humans knows exactly who we are." The memory center of the Invictus hums with quiet energy as holographic displays illuminate Lieutenant Chen's face in shifting blue light. She moves with practiced efficiency, her augmented fingers interfacing directly with the ship's systems. Nyx watches, fascinated by the seamless connection between human and machine. "Most of our historical records were preserved when we went into hiding," Chen explains, pulling up 3-dimensional imagery of battles fought centuries ago. "We made sure our descendants would remember what really happened." The displays show massive fleets clashing among the stars. Human vessels, though outnumbered, fight with unprecedented tactics, sacrificing entire battle groups to protect civilian evacuation ships. Your people fought bravely, Nix observes. Chen's expression hardens. We fought desperately. The Vraxians didn't just want territory or resources. They wanted to erase us completely. Their biology gives them advantages we couldn't match. What advantages? Chen gestures, and the display shifts to show detailed anatomical imagery of a Vraxian, a being Nix has only seen in stylized historical illustrations. The reality is far more disturbing. Beneath an exterior that could pass for several different species lies a complex secondary nervous system and specialized glands. Adaptive mimicry, Chen explains. Vraxians can alter their appearance to resemble other species, not just visually. They can emit the appropriate pheromones, match biological signatures, even mimic brainwave patterns. Nix's scales ripple with disbelief. That's impossible. Such complete biological deception is exactly why they almost won. Chen interrupts. Human resistance lasted longer than expected only because we developed technology to detect their quantum neural patterns. Every Vraxian, regardless of what form they've taken, produces unique subatomic signatures. She pulls up another display. Current Confederation star charts overlaid with pulsing red indicators. These are Vraxian signature concentrations we've detected. Notice anything? Nix feels her heart stutter. The highest concentrations center perfectly on Confederation government centers, military command posts, and educational institutions. This can't be right, she whispers. The Confederation has stood for peace for 3 centuries. If Vraxians controlled it, they wouldn't rule through obvious force, Chen says. They'd create a civilization that appears free while subtly directing its development, limiting certain technologies, controlling information flow, rewriting history. She looks pointedly at Nix, teaching children that humans were savage warriors who died fighting a noble enemy. Nix's mind races, connecting fragments of inconsistencies she's noticed throughout her life. The strict regulations on sensor technology, the unusual gaps in historical records, the mandatory health scans, all Confederation citizens undergo quarterly. I need to test something, she says suddenly. Can your detection system analyze communications? Chen nods cautiously. What do you have in mind? Nix produces her personal device. My captain's last transmission before we encountered your ship. He sent it using his private channel, but I managed to record the quantum signature. The lieutenant takes the device, connecting it to the human systems. The data flashes across multiple screens before coalescing into a distinct pattern, one that matches perfectly with the Vraxian neural signatures. Your captain, Chen says softly, isn't Selfidian. Nix stares at the evidence, her worldview crumbling. He's been commanding our vessel for 7 years, making reports to Confederation headquarters, accessing all our exploration data. An alarm suddenly blares throughout the ship. Captain Reynolds' voice echoes through the memory center. All hands to battle stations. Confederation warships detected entering the sector. Chen's eyes meet Nix's, understanding passing between them. Your captain sent our location before coming aboard, didn't he? Nix nods, her scales paling with realization. And now, we know why. The Invictus Bridge erupts with coordinated chaos as crew members prepare for potential combat. Captain Reynolds stands at the center command platform, his scarred hands manipulating holographic tactical displays. 3 Confederation heavy cruisers, designations Righteous Truth, Harmonious Justice, and Benevolent Guidance, reports a tactical officer. Standard Confederation Vanguard formation. Weapons charging. Nix and Lieutenant Chen burst onto the bridge, breathless from their sprint through the ship. Captain, Chen calls out. The Selfidian vessel's commander is compromised. Confirmed Vraxian neural pattern. Reynolds' expression doesn't change, but his eyes harden. I suspected as much when they found us. Our cloaking technology doesn't fail without assistance. He turns to Nix. Your crew. Most are innocent, she insists. They don't know what's happening. A communications officer interrupts. Incoming transmission from the Lid Confederation vessel. On screen, Reynolds orders. The view screen displays a severe-looking Morakian, a species known for their rigid adherence to Confederation protocols. Six eyes blink in unsettling asymmetry as he speaks. Unknown vessel, this is Admiral Thorok of the Confederation Defense Force. You have illegally detained a Confederation exploration ship and its crew. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Reynolds steps forward. Admiral, this is Captain Marcus Reynolds of the UES Invictus. We detected unauthorized scans of our position and took appropriate defensive measures. The Selphidian vessel is unharmed. Human vessel. The Admiral's multiple eyes widen slightly, the only indication of surprise. Impossible. The human species was eradicated during the Vraxian conflict. Evidently not, Reynolds replies dryly. We request peaceful dialogue to explain our presence. The Admiral's mandibles click rapidly, a sign of agitation. There will be no dialogue. Your existence threatens galactic stability. You will surrender immediately or be destroyed. Reynolds cuts the transmission with a swift gesture. So much for diplomacy. He turns to his navigation officer. Phantom drive ready. Charged and calibrated. Sir. Gravitational tethers locked on the Selphidian vessel. Secure, Captain. Reynolds nods. Execute Phantom jump. Destination. Waypoint Omega. Nix grabs a support rail as the stars outside suddenly stretch and distort. The bridge view screen compensates, showing the Confederation vessels firing into empty space where the Invictus had been moments before. Then reality itself seems to bend, and they're elsewhere, orbiting a barren moonlet in an unfamiliar system. The luminary dawn. Nix asks anxiously. Safely in Tau. Chen confirms, checking her console. Minor structural stress from the jump, but integrity is stable. Reynolds turns to Nix. We need to secure your vessel. Your commander is dangerous, and any crew loyal to him could jeopardize both our ships. Let me talk to my crew first, Nix pleads. They deserve to know the truth. Reynolds hesitates, then nods. Lieutenant Chen will escort you, but we move quickly. The Confederation will track us eventually. Aboard the Luminary Dawn, the atmosphere is tense. Confused crew members cluster in the corridors, demanding explanations. Nix addresses them from the central command platform, Chen standing vigilantly beside her. The commander has been detained for your safety, Nix announces. I've discovered evidence that. A blur of motion interrupts her as Commander Vexorn emerges from a maintenance shaft, physical form distorting grotesquely. His Selphidian features melt away, revealing glistening gray skin and too many limbs. He lunges toward Nix with inhuman speed. Chen's specialized sidearm fires, a pulse of concentrated energy that strikes the creature mid-transformation. It collapses with an unnatural shriek, its body rapidly losing cohesion. The assembled Selphidian crew stare in horrified silence at the writhing form of what was once their commander. That, Chen says grimly, is what a Vraxian really looks like. The asteroid base known as Crystal Point deceives with its exterior. What appears to be nothing more than a hollowed-out mining operation reveals itself as a marvel of engineering as their shuttle passes through concealed hangar doors. Nix presses against the viewport, marveling at the sight. A vast interior cavity housing structures, cultivation domes, and docking bays teeming with activity. We've maintained this outpost for 73 years, explains Director Amara Okafor as she leads Nix, Lieutenant Chen, and Captain Reynolds through the central hub. One of 27 similar installations scattered throughout neglected regions of space. Director Okafor moves with the measured confidence of someone accustomed to command. Her dark complexion contrasts with close-cropped silver hair, and penetrating eyes miss nothing. Unlike Reynolds' weathered military bearing, Okafor carries herself with academic precision. How have you remained undetected for so long? Nix asks, noting the diversity of species working alongside humans, many she recognizes from Confederation worlds. Quantum signature dampening, Okafor explains. The same technology that masks Draxian neural patterns can be reversed to hide from their sensors. Plus, we only recruit individuals already questioning the established order. They enter a secure laboratory where researchers cluster around the containment field holding the Vraxian infiltrator formerly known as Commander Vexorn. Its body continues to shift between forms, sometimes resembling a Sulfidian, sometimes revealing its true appearance. The cellular degradation is accelerating, notes a researcher. Neural cohesion failing. Can you stabilize it? Reynolds asks. We need information. The researcher shakes her head. Lieutenant Chen's weapon disrupted its mimetic control. Without that, Vraxian physiology cannot maintain integrity outside its natural environment. Nex approaches the containment field cautiously. The creature's eyes, now too many to count, focus on her with undisguised hatred. How many others like you are there? She asks. How deeply have you infiltrated our society? The Vraxian emits a gurgling sound that the translator renders as laughter. We are everywhere, little sensor technician. In your government, your educational institutions, your family units. 3 centuries of careful replacement. Why? Nyx demands. Why the deception? The Confederation believes the Vraxian Empire was defeated. Defeated. More gurgling laughter. We evolve beyond crude conquest. Why destroy when you can control? Your precious Confederation is our greatest achievement. Billions believing themselves free while developing exactly as we direct. Director Okafor steps forward. What about the suppressor technology? How extensive is the implementation? The creature's form ripples. From birth to death, every Confederation citizen is monitored, adjusted, kept docile. Your human resistance is an aberration, nothing more. Its body suddenly convulses violently, cellular structure collapsing. Within moments, nothing remains but an iridescent puddle of rapidly evaporating biomatter. So much for interrogation, Reynolds mutters. Nyx turns to Okafor. It mentions suppressors. What did it mean? The director leads them to another section of the laboratory where a familiar device sits on an examination table, a standard Confederation health monitor, identical to the one Nyx has worn since childhood. These mandatory devices do more than monitor vital signs, Okafor explains. They emit low-level pulses that specifically target brain functions associated with pattern recognition and critical thinking. Not enough to impair daily function, but sufficient to prevent people from questioning historical inconsistencies or recognizing Vraxian infiltration. Nyx stares at the innocent-looking device in horror. Every citizen wears one. Billions of minds, subtly controlled without their knowledge. And now you understand why humans had to disappear, Reynolds says quietly. It was the only way to remain free. The stealth shuttle glides silently through the quantum anomaly's outer rings, its specialized shielding diffusing the radiation that would normally fry conventional systems. Nyx adjusts her environmental suit's settings, the unfamiliar human design fitting surprisingly well over her Sulfidian form. Final approach to the truth seeker. Eliza announces from the pilot's seat, her augmented eyes processing multiple data streams simultaneously. Minimal power signatures detected. Life support appears to be functioning on emergency reserves only. Captain Reynolds' voice comes through their comms. Invictus holding position at the edge of sensor range. You have 90 minutes before we need to relocate. Make it count. The damaged Sulfidian science vessel grows larger in their viewports, its elegantly curved hull now scared by what appears to be weapons fire. Not the clean precision of Confederation weapons, but something more desperate and improvised. They were attacked by another research vessel, Nyx observes, studying the impact patterns. See the residual energy signature. Civilian-grade mining charges repurposed as weapons. Someone didn't want their research getting out. Eliza agrees as she expertly maneuvers the shuttle into the damaged docking bay. The boarding team, Nyx, Eliza, and 3 human specialists, moves efficiently through the darkened corridors of the Truth Seeker. Emergency lighting casts everything in an eerie blue glow. Their helmet lights sweep across abandoned workstations and personal belongings left in haste. Life signs concentrated in the primary laboratory, reports one of the specialists, checking his scanner. Multiple biosignatures in suspended animation. The cryostasis units dominate the central laboratory. 12 transparent pods containing Sulfidian researchers in frozen suspension. Only one pod shows signs of recent deactivation. Following the trail of condensation leads them to the chief scientist, Dr. Kelvin, slumped against a data terminal. Nix rushes to the elderly Sulfidian, her medical scanner indicating critical life signs. His scales have faded to a pale gray, showing advanced age and severe stress. "Help me," she calls to the team as she administers emergency stabilizers. Kelvin's eyes flutter open, focusing with difficulty on Nix's face. "You, Confederation?" "No," she answers firmly. "We're with the Resistance. We intercepted your distress signal." A trembling hand grasps her arm with surprising strength. "The data. Must preserve the data." Elisa kneels beside them, connecting the secure data transfer device to the terminal. "What are we looking for?" "Neural suppressor research," Kelvin wheezes. 20 years, studying the devices, found the pattern. His breathing becomes more labored. Not just information control. Preparation. Preparation for what? Nix asks urgently. Synchronization. Kelvin's eyes widen with fear. The suppressors. They can be activated. All at once, across all Confederation space. The data transfer completes with a soft chime. Elisa scans the preliminary information, her augmented systems processing faster than any organic mind could. "He's right," she whispers. "These aren't just passive control devices. They contain dormant networks that can be triggered remotely." She looks up at Nix, horror evident, even through her helmet visor. They could essentially hijack the nervous systems of billions of beings simultaneously. Dr. Kelvin clutches at Nix again. "The other ships, they came after we discovered the activation protocols, claimed we were contaminated with a psychotropic pathogen." His voice grows fainter. "Tell them. The countdown has started. The neural network, already initializing." "Countdown to what?" Nix demands. The scientist's final words emerge as barely a whisper. "The final synchronization. When we all become them." The emergency alarm on his medical scanner flatlines as Elisa's communicator simultaneously blares with an urgent transmission from the Invictus. Multiple Confederation vessels detected entering the system. Extraction required immediately. The command deck of the Invictus hums with urgent activity as the combined human resistance fleet prepares for their most daring operation yet. Tactical displays show 57 vessels of varying sizes and origins, a fraction of the Confederation Armada, but each commanded by crews who know the truth. Captain Reynolds stands before the assembled commanders, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic representation of Confederation space rotating slowly above the central table. "The synchronization countdown gives us less than 36 hours, he states, his voice steady despite the stakes. "Once initiated, the neural networks embedded in billions of citizens will permanently alter their brain chemistry, making them susceptible to Vraxian control patterns." Director Okafor gestures to the display, highlighting key communication nodes across Confederation territory. The signal must originate from these primary broadcast stations. Standard Confederation architecture requires a centralized control hub, most likely at the capital. Even with our entire fleet, a direct assault on the capital would be suicide. Adralaxian commander objects, mandibles clicking anxiously. "We don't need to assault it," Nix interjects, stepping forward. All eyes turn to her as she manipulates the hologram, focusing on the neural suppressor schematics extracted from the Truth Seeker *. These devices receive signals, but they also transmit status updates. We can use that bidirectional capability against them. Elisa catches on immediately, her augmented eyes brightening with comprehension. A reverse-engineered signal. Instead of accepting the synchronization command, we override it. Nyx finishes. Temporarily reverse the suppression effect. Give every citizen a window of clarity, a chance to see the truth. The room erupts in overlapping conversations as commanders debate the feasibility. Reynolds raises a hand for silence. Even if possible, we'd need to broadcast from within the Confederation network. Their quantum encryption is impenetrable from outside. Nyx exchanges glances with Eliza. Not entirely impenetrable. My sensor modifications combined with Lieutenant Chen's detection algorithms could identify vulnerabilities in their encryption patterns. Hours later, Nyx and Eliza work feverishly in the Invictus laboratory, surrounded by dissected health monitors and complex code sequences. Their progress displays on a hovering screen where the counter relentlessly ticks down. 24:17:03 remaining. The Vraxians designed these systems to be foolproof, Eliza mutters, frustration evident as another simulation fails. Multiple redundancies, self-correcting algorithms, which means they follow patterns. Nyx counters, adjusting a neural mapping sequence. All patterns have harmonics, resonance points where small inputs create disproportionate effects. She applies her specialized knowledge of Sulfidian sensor technology, approaching the problem from an unconventional angle. Instead of attacking the encryption directly, she searches for the underlying quantum resonance that all Vraxian technology shares, the same unique signature that allows humans to detect them. The simulation runs again, and this time a small section of the code matrix glows green. There, Nyx points, scales shimmering with excitement. That's our entry point. Eliza stares at the results, then breaks into a rare, genuine smile. You magnificent blue genius. That might actually work. The ship's communication system interrupts their moment of triumph. All hands, battle stations. Confederation Vanguard detected entering the sector. Estimated time to weapons range, 17 minutes. On the bridge, Reynolds receives their report with grim determination. Time to implementation. 4 hours minimum. Eliza answers. We need to complete the signal modifications and upload them to all fleet vessels. Reynolds glances at the tactical display, showing the approaching Confederation ships, at least 30 heavy cruisers supported by dozens of smaller vessels. Then we hold them off for 4 hours, he states simply. Deploy the fleet in defensive formation Delta. We give the technical team the time they need, whatever the cost. The battle for the Confederation capital rages across the orbital lanes. Debris from destroyed vessels creates hazardous clouds that navigation systems struggle to track. The human resistance fleet, despite superior technology and tactics, suffers heavy losses against the numerically overwhelming Confederation forces. Aboard the Invictus, damage reports flood in from all decks. Captain Reynolds maintains his position on the command platform despite a nasty gash across his forehead, blood occasionally dripping into his unwavering gaze. Shields at 28%. A tactical officer reports. Port weapon arrays compromised. Reynolds nods calmly. Maintain position. We need to keep their attention focused on us. Meanwhile, Nyx and Eliza lead their strike team through the underground access tunnels beneath the Confederation's central control spire. The team moves with practiced efficiency. 3 humans, 2 Sulfidians, and a Dralaxian sapper, each chosen for specific skills essential to the mission. Security checkpoint ahead, whispers the Dralaxian, his sensory antennae detecting subtle vibrations through the structure. 4 guards, standard rotation. Eliza activates a specialized disruptor that temporarily interferes with the neural implants all Confederation security personnel are equipped with. The guards collapse, unconscious but unharmed. 18 minutes until synchronized broadcast. Nyx reminds the team as they proceed deeper into the facility. The central hub rises before them, a massive crystalline structure pulsing with energy, surrounded by nested security fields. Countless data streams converge here, where the Vraxian-designed systems coordinate all Confederation communications. The quantum control hub, Eliza breathes, her augmented eyes scanning the defenses, just like the historical records described. While the team's technical specialists work to disable the outer security layers, Nyx studies the energy patterns flowing through the structure. Her enhanced sensor pack detects something the others miss: a harmonic instability in the quantum field, fluctuating at precise intervals. There's a pattern to the field modulation, she tells Eliza, if we time our approach to match the harmonic low points. A deafening alarm interrupts her as security doors slam shut around them. A cold, multi-tone voice echoes through the chamber. Intruders detected. Lethal countermeasures authorized. Automated defense turrets emerge from concealed compartments, targeting the team with precision weapons. The Dralaxian sapper deploys shield generators, buying them precious seconds. We need direct access to the hub. Eliza shouts over the weapons fire, her specialized disruptor ineffective against the automated systems. Nyx makes a split-second decision. She reconfigures her sensor pack to emit the exact frequency she detected in the quantum field's harmonic pattern, creating a temporary resonance cascade. "Cover me," she calls, darting forward, as the security fields momentarily flicker. Eliza provides covering fire as Nyx reaches the central console. Her hands move with desperate speed, uploading the counter-signal they developed aboard the Invictus. Progress indicators crawl across the display: 67%, 83%, 91%. A security drone targets Nyx from above. Eliza sees it too late, lunging forward to push Nyx aside. The energy blast catches the human lieutenant directly in the back. She collapses against Nyx, her augmented systems sparking and failing. "Finish it," Eliza gasps, blood spreading across her tactical suit. Nyx holds her friend with one arm while completing the upload with the other. 100%. Transmission commencing. Throughout Confederation space, billions of neural suppressors simultaneously reverse function. Rather than blocking perception, they enhance it. Awareness cascades across countless minds as centuries of manipulation become suddenly, painfully clear. In orbit above, the Confederation fleet falters as crew members see the truth, questioning orders and turning against Vraxian commanders who can no longer hide their true nature. Nyx cradles the wounded Eliza, watching through the facility's monitors as revolution blooms across the stars. "We did it," she whispers. "The legends are reborn."